The movie The Beekeeper borrowed a backstory for one of its characters from my book, American Predators, specifically from chapter 43, a chapter called Rule of Law. I'm going to read part of that chapter so that you can hear how that character ends up losing his leg. It's the one-legged, yellow-jacketed, Australian accented guy with the weird neck tattoo in the movie. So here it goes. Angel took a call from a local policeman who'd been stationed to watch the exit from the military base. He told Angel that Peter Webster's motorcade had left. He told the cop not to follow and that they'd take care of it from here. Put a bird in the air, real high. We should see him coming soon, he said to Richard Little. Short Round launched a drone from the trunk-mounted magazine. The trunk opened and closed in a slightly more than a second, ejecting the diminutive unmanned aerial vehicle into the night sky. He flew the drone up to a couple thousand feet and switched to cameras to infrared mode. It was a full moon night, so visibility was pretty good. He caught sight of the three-vehicle armored convoy coming down the narrow road out of the base. It followed alongside the ocean along Vietnam's eastern coast in a hilly, twisty, challenging-to-navigate manner. The drivers of the big armored trucks had to proceed slowly so as not to roll over the top-heavy vehicles on the treacherous road. Put 6 more drones in the air, Angel instructed Short Round. He popped them out of the trunk into the air and had them join the original drone in a swarm formation sitting about 2,000 feet up. These are armored trucks. Our explosives aren't likely to destroy them, but we can stop them. Wait for them to get to the switchbacks leading up to the hills. 2 drones under each truck should do it. Once the trucks are incapacitated and stopped, they'll have to get out. This will give us a chance to either blow Daft Peter up with another drone, or for me to blow his head off with this here pea shooter. Angel caressed the Canadian Special Forces issue Macmillan TAC-50 sniper rifle on the seat next to him. While the Russians had had some nice guns, it was accepted worldwide that the TAC-50 was in a class by itself in the 50 caliber sniper rifles. The barrel of the enormous gun stuck out the passenger window of the Audi. Angel got out of the car and placed the big gun on the roof, with 2 legs on the barrel making it stable. He looked through the scope at the road going up the hill. When Short Round stopped those trucks, he would have a chance to end all of this, at least partially. Matthew Angelino saw the armored convoy enter into his field of vision. Now, blow them up now, Short Round. Little Richard sent the swarm of 6 drones down to attack the armored trucks. The 7th drone stayed in the air to provide overwatch. Quickly and quietly, 2 quadcopters flew down to the ground and under each of the lumbering trucks. Simultaneously, they all exploded, sending the armored behemoths up into the air and then crashing down into craters made by the explosions. The loud report of 6 kilograms of Semtex exploding all at once was considerable. The wheels had been blown off the armored trucks, but their armor had held. All the Marines, and Daft Peter, were still very much alive. Among the Marines in the truck, the situation was understood immediately. With no love for Peter Webster, they pushed him out of his armored car and onto the street, and then closed and locked the door again. They reported into the base that they had been attacked and lost track of Daft Peter in the melee. Not one of them was interested in dying to protect Bodie's criminal lapdog. Angel saw Daft Peter's lanky frame being pushed out of the vehicle through the scope of the TAC-50. He smiled to himself as his finger tightened on the trigger. "Don't shoot him! Mary is on the phone. She says we have to make a deal with him." Short Round had Mary on the Jackal Time video chat on his large touchscreen. "What, are you kidding? 3 months and this is the first clean shot I've had at this greasy motherfucker, and you tell me not to shoot? What the fuck?" Angel was fuming. He was tracking Daft Peter walking down the steep switchback with the enormous gun. Short Round cranked up the volume so Angel could hear what Mary had to say. "We found a district attorney willing to make a criminal case against Bodie Godslaw. We need Peter Webster to turn state's evidence against him. With Peter's testimony, we can get Maurice Godslaw thrown into maximum security prison for the rest of his life. Mary had really hoped to have Godslaw dead, but rotting in a jail cell was a close second. Who is taking the case? Angel thought that avenue had been exhausted already. The city solicitor for South Fulton, Georgia. She's an African-American woman named Ladine Jones. South Fulton is unique in that the whole judicial system there is run by African-American women. They have the courage and ability to prosecute Godslaw using the evidence Jackal can provide. They just need a witness. Angel frowned. Just killing Daft Peter had been tough enough to arrange. Now he had to take the guy alive? He squinted into the viewfinder of the big rifle and zeroed the crosshairs on Peter Webster's legs. He squeezed the trigger and fire spit out of the barrel of the TAC-50. Through the scope, Angel saw Daft Peter's left knee explode in a red puff. He watched with satisfaction as Peter fell to the ground in agony. Okay, we'll take him alive. Angel was nothing if not flexible. He stowed the TAC-50 and drove the Audi towards Daft Peter. Behind them, an empty box van driven by local cops followed. They'd planned on retrieving a body anyways. As they pulled up next to the screaming Daft Peter, Angel got out and pointed his Glock at Peter's head. This can be the end for you, Hopalong, or you can testify against Godslaw in an American court and live. I'm happy either way. He pressed the barrel of the handgun up against Peter's temple. You blew my fucking leg off. Daft Peter was having trouble seeing the bigger picture. You'll live, maybe. So is it testify against your boss or is it die here and now? Decide quick. It's less work for me if you die. I'll fucking testify. Now get me to a doctor. Daft Peter spat out through clenched teeth. His leg really was blown apart. The calf was no longer attached to the thigh. It's like his knee had just vaporized in a bloody mess. He would be hopping along on one leg for the rest of his life. Angel applied a tourniquet to what was left of Daft Peter's leg. Then he and a few burly Vietnamese cops roughly lifted Peter and threw him and his detached shin into the back of the box van and locked him in. They drove as fast as possible to the nearest hospital to stabilize and prepare him for transport back to the States. Peter's screams of agony were music to Angel's ears. A medic with the cops had intended to give Daft Peter morphine for the pain of the destroyed leg, but Angel waved him off. It was barbaric, but well-deserved. Peter screamed himself unconscious before the truck finally reached the hospital. Angel hoped he'd had a heart attack and died. The doctors cut Peter Webster's left thigh bone almost in half, then sewed the leg up. They gave Daft Peter enough drugs to knock him out while they operated on his leg. Angel took the opportunity to bring in a tattoo artist to tattoo the words Hopalong onto Daft Peter's neck. The doctors objected to the tattoo artist at first, but Angel silenced them with cash. They took the thick envelopes and shrugged. These Americans were crazy. Once he was stable, Angel loaded the still groggy Peter into a wheelchair. He handcuffed each of his arms to the chair itself. They loaded him into an ambulance and headed for the airport. At the airport, a chartered Airbus was waiting.